Aradhana, good morning. Can you see all the panelists?
Uh,
There
yes,
are
sir.
5 of us? Yes. Okay. Introduce yourself, please.
Yes. So my name is Aradhana. I was born in Ratlam, but I am currently residing in Indore, and I did my BTech in Computer Science and Engineering from Maulana Azad National Institute of Technology, Bhopal. And I also had an opportunity to work in Barclays for a year as a software analyst. And currently, I'm preparing for civil services full time. And my hobbies include reading personal development books, singing, and I'm also learning to play the harmonium.
But Aradhana, you passed out in 2019.
Yes.
So are you doing something or working somewhere after that? 1 year you said you worked with Barclays.
Yes.
What about after that?
So after that, I started preparing for civil services, and I had the opportunity to give interview earlier as well. So this is going to be my second interview.
And how many marks did you get in the first attempt?
So
First
I got
interview?
165.
165. That's not bad. Still, you couldn't make it to any service?
No, sir, I couldn't. My mains was also not very good.
Okay. Well, we hope that this time you will do much better.
Yes, sir, I'm positive.
Now, let me ask you a question. Your father, you say, is a district excise officer.
Yes, sir, he's retired currently.
He's retired now.
Yes.
But tell me, why is excise kept out of GST?
Sir, it is one of the biggest sources of revenue for the states. And GST, if it would have been brought for the excise also, the alcohol and all those things, then it would have impacted the state's revenue a lot. And that is why it was kept out.
No, but the rates could have been adjusted according to the requirement of the state. Or rather, this holds for all the states, so rate could have been adjusted according to what the states wanted, so that there is no dent in the revenue.
Sir, I think going forward, this can be brought in through the route of GST Council, where the discussions can be held and a common path can be adopted.
Very. Now, what other products are kept out of GST?
So petroleum and its products, I think, and so this is what I can recall right now. I'll read about it.
Okay. Now, tell me, you come from Indore.
Yes.
Indore has been making headlines as a city for glorious achievement in cleanliness.
Yes, sir.
How do you think that has become possible?
So there are certain things that Indore has adopted. Firstly, the citizens, I would say, the citizens of Indore, they have played a very major role in ensuring that there is 100% door-to-door collection as well as segregation at the source itself. So that is the most major thing. Apart from that, the administration is taking care of utilizing tech like use of GPS vans to ensure that it is properly done, and also the proper grievance mechanism like the 311 app, wherein if there is any issue then the citizens can report it. So these are certain ways through which it has improved.
Okay. Good. Now, you are a graduate in computer science. Tell me, what do you mean by LLM?
So LLM are the large language models wherein any kind of computer or a device is trained on such language models, huge amount of data, and through that they produce the results.
Okay. But why are they called LLMs? Can there be SLMs also, short language models?
Sir, if they are trained on a shorter data, then I think they won't be able to produce the results as they are producing right now. So,
But supposing you are working in a particular firm, let us say you deal with medical billing, then would you require LLMs for application of AI in your organization?
sir, if I specifically talk about a medical billing system, then I think again the data sets required are very large because huge number of people get treatments there. So I think even in those cases, large language models will be needed.
My understanding was that specific models can be evolved, and LLMs need not be invoked for such requirements.
Sir, in my knowledge, I think this is the case, but I'll try to read more about it.
Okay. Now I'll pass you on to my next panelist. He is Mr. Ajay Chauhan. He's a retired Indian Revenue Service officer.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, Aradhana. How are you doing today?
Good morning, sir. Sir, I'm fine, thank you.
Right. You come from Indore,
Yes,
and I happen to be the Chief Commissioner in Indore for quite some time.
okay, sir.
Well, I'm not going to put any questions on Indore. I expect that you will be knowing all of this. Now, Indian space has been, or rather, the space arena has been on news for two reasons. Some two events had taken place just in a week's gap. Are you aware of what has happened?
The one that I know of is the Insat 3DS launch, which occurred, I think, yes, 2 days back.
Yes, that's
That
correct.
the second one I'm unable
And
to
what is
recall.
this mission one you just named?
The Insat 3DS. It was named Naughty Boy.
Naughty Boy. Why is it called Naughty Boy?
So in my knowledge, it was launched through the GSLV Mark III satellite, and that is known for, sometimes it is known for failures, more than the PSLV rockets, which
So,
have.
what was the purpose of this mission?
So this mission was launched to ensure that we have better weather analysis systems, and
Correct.
disaster management can be taken care of through the satellite monitoring.
Or rather, there was another event. Have you heard of HAPS?
Yes, sir. So it
What
was.
is that?
So that is high endurance.
No, HAPS. HAPS.
Sir, I'm unable to recall the full form currently, but I can
That's
tell
again to
about.
do with the space. Another vehicle or a satellite that has been launched by the name HAPS, High Altitude Pseudo Satellite.
Pseudo satellite. Yes, sir.
What
Sir,
are
I know
those?
about
What
it.
are those pseudo satellites?
So they are basically unmanned armed vehicles,
That's
wherein
right.
that are better than drones in terms of longer performance. They can stay in the atmosphere for a longer period of
And
time.
what is the source of energy for these satellites?
So they'll be working on the solar power.
Perfect, perfect. All right. Now, Aradhana, recently there was a landmark judgment by the Honorable Apex Court. Are you aware of what am I talking about?
Sir, about the electoral bonds judgment.
All right. So, what was the dictum of the Supreme Court?
The Supreme Court held the electoral bond scheme, which was passed as unconstitutional, and it also asked the SBI to release the data related to electoral
Oh,
bonds
okay.
received.
So that is a factual information. Now I want to know as to why did the Constitution say, why did the Supreme Court state that it is unconstitutional?
So can I take a moment to?
Yes, please.
So it was held as unconstitutional because it was violative of Article 14 as well as 19, because the
Mhm.
people have the right to information, to know about where the funding is coming from for the political parties, because it can help in better and efficient decision making with respect to voting. So that is why the Supreme Court, Honorable Supreme Court, held it as unconstitutional.
So rather, if this is electoral bonds stands withdrawn, uh, the reason, the purpose for which it was brought in was to cure a particular disease of cash donations coming to the party. Yesterday, there was a panel discussion where the former Secretary of Finance was stating that look, electoral bonds was with the purpose with a good motive of cutting down to the cash donations coming out of the party. Now, are we rolling in on going on to the retrograde state by withdrawing these electoral bonds?
Yes, sir. I think it was brought in to curb the issue of black money and money
Yes.
politics in the
So,
elections.
are we reverting back to the old system, or do you have anything in mind to come out with any alternative?
So currently, as the Supreme Court has mentioned, I think we do not have any new system. So we'll go back to the earlier system of funding.
Cash and cash donations.
Yes, sir. Sir, but I think there can be things can be
Okay,
brought
okay.
in.
Let me put another question rather to you. Now you are aspiring to be a bureaucrat, to be an IAS officer. Of course, this is a question which you need to have to apply in mind. What would you think would be the right way to go forward?
So with respect to the electoral bonds,
Absolutely. Why should we promote cash transactions which are not recorded in books of accounts?
sir,
This
I
was a
think
way where everything was available, at least on books of accounts.
yes, sir. Sir, I think we can bring in a certain mechanism, maybe reforms in the electoral bonds, through which the right to information can also be upheld, and digital mechanisms can be used, like through e-KYC if the payments are done, and people can be made aware of where the funding is coming from. And I think earlier there was a panel which also recommended state funding and such mechanisms. So such recommendations can also be looked at to research if they are feasible to implement.
Okay, the last two questions coming on to you. I will spell out three words, rather given three words to you. And you know to give me or just a one line each for all these three words, right? Wishing starts with V, wishing, smishing, wishing.
So these are
And it has
ways.
to do with everyday today's life of all of us. We are all infected with this.
So these are ways through which people are tricked into clicking at certain links, which can lead to cyber frauds with people.
Fine, but you define me. What is wishing, wishing, smishing?
So
I've already
smishing,
given a cue.
so smishing is done through messages, uh,
Yes,
SMS messages.
correct.
Phishing is, sir, I'm unable to
And
recall.
wishing
Wishing,
and Q starting with K, Q, wishing.
the quishing is the QR code based one.
Perfect. You got it right. All right. The last question coming in. Madhya Pradesh, there have been reports that the child marriage is still prevalent in Madhya Pradesh for various reasons. Uh, if I had to ask you, Aradhana, what is the reason? One. Two, what do you think could be the remedial measure?
So first talking about the reasons, I think there is lack of understanding within the people of the issues associated with child marriages. And also MP, if I talk specifically about MP, then there is a huge tribal population also, around 20% of the population. So these people are also more prone to child marriages because of lack of education and proper healthcare
All right.
mechanisms.
Okay. Okay.
If we have to talk about the solutions, then I think, sir, we have to focus more on the issues which lead to child marriages, like educating the children, and specifically about girls being married early. We need to focus on the higher educational systems, ensuring them for the girls, and also addressing the issues of poverty, because that is a major reason why the parents think of marrying off their children early. So that needs to be addressed.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Radna.
Now, next panelist is Mr. Sanjay Kumar. He is a retired Indian Forest Service officer.
Hello, Aradhana. How are you?
Good morning, sir. Sir, I'm fine, thank you.
Great. So, Aradhana, you have a fantastic combination of subject. You also have a BTech in computer science engineering, and you have opted for sociology.
Yes.
Wonderful combination. And the modern computer science is all about sociology. Yeah, but tell me that you mentioned to our panelist with regard to the cleanliness of Indore, why it is there. And you mentioned some of the instrumental features of the cleanliness program in Indore. But from the perspective of sociology, what would you attribute this to in terms of social networks, structure, social structure? What, in your view, is the defining feature of Indore which made possible that Indore remains at one of the top cities?
The one thing that I can think of is the community engagement and the coherence within the society, wherein everyone comes together to bring this change.
Yes, but why it is there? Why it is there in Indore? Why it is not there in other parts of India?
Sir, it might be due to the various historical factors, and also the kind of culture that exists in this city has naturally been this way always. But I
Oh,
think
I
it
see.
can be replicated in other areas as well. If
Something
certain
must be there. No? Something must be there because Indore traditionally has been industrial city, basically. Yeah. Businesses, trade, industry has flourished in Indore. Proximity of Maharashtra also is one of the main regions, no? But the same thing has been there in many other cities of India. Population in Indore is as much heterogeneous as it is in Delhi, but Delhi doesn't despite all the efforts, we are not able to achieve that distinction.
Sir, if I compare specifically with Delhi, I think in Delhi there is more individualistic lifestyle because of the kind of development that it has. But in Indore, currently we are developing in terms of say the corporate corporates and all those things. So that is why that individualistic lifestyle has not touched the city as much as it has touched Delhi.
Okay.
But
So
I think
you mean to say that Indore one day will acquire the same social characteristics of Delhi, which would mean that all these structures which happen because of a good social network would diminish or extinguish?
Sir, I think we'll hold on to it in the coming times as well.
Okay. Yeah. But tell me one thing, just again touching upon the two subjects of computer sciences and sociology. Yeah. As, for example, you are in charge of a block or a subdivision or a district. How would you use your skills of computer science and sociology in tackling one of the foremost problems of any rural district of Madhya Pradesh?
Sir, so I have to tell in terms of any particular problem.
Anyone. Combining the knowledge of computer sciences and sociology.
Sir, I think one of the major issues in MP is with respect to the health indicators. There is a huge IMR and MMR in the state currently. So I would like to utilize my knowledge in this particular segment. And the things that I would like to focus on in terms of the computer science knowledge, I think I would like to utilize the technologies like AI as well as data sciences.
Can you be more specific? Yeah, this is very general things, no? As a student of computer science engineering, will like to know much more from.
Yes, sir. Sir, I would like to identify through data sciences what exactly are the reasons for these particular problems and where specifically targeted policies are needed. And through that, I would like to ensure more equity with respect to the health indicators. Like I can ensure that if any certain areas, like in Jhabua and areas in the western tribal districts, there is a huge problem of these health indicators. So I would like to make targeted policies for those regions.
But these are, Aradhana, if I'm not mistaken, all these parameters which you're mentioning, they're already there in the family health survey.
Yes.
Okay, so what will you do on top of all this?
So can I take some time to think?
Sure, please.
Sir, I think I can think of ensuring the last mile delivery for these solutions only. Because despite them being in place, I think we still have a long way to go in ensuring these developments.
Okay. Aradhana, I have a view, okay, and I will like to know your view on this particular subject. I understand that Madhya Pradesh is one state which is cited sometimes as a good governance state, as compared to states like Bihar, which have been at times cited as failed states. Yeah. And with regard to that, my understanding is that because Madhya Pradesh predominantly has been a princely state before independence of India, and that culture has pervaded in a kind of submission. The local population has generally been very, very submissive, and there have been no conflicts as such, which we usually see in states like Bihar, where sociological evolution has taken place and social conflicts have taken place based on various social groups to a very large scale. So do you think that this is a good theory?
So it might be true to an extent, but I think even in the central provinces, which was
Yeah.
MP in the earlier times, there were various not just the specific princely states, but they were also a part of the national freedom struggle, wherein many new groups were also there. So this specifically,
Mhm.
so that might be true to some extent, I would say.
Okay. So I'll end here and I will pass on to.
Okay,
Chair.
now we'll move to the two mentors from your Sleepy Classes Coaching Institute.
Okay.
Yes, Mr. Grover and Mr. Shekhar Dutt.
Okay. Aradhana, you're a computer science engineer, and these days we have a very interesting case. A.R. Rahman, there's a case about him. Can you shed some light on that?
So I think in a movie he has in his music he has used
Mhm.
AI tools to replicate the voice of an earlier singer.
Okay.
I do not
So
remember
can
the
you
exact.
can you name the two singers?
So I'll read about it. I do not remember
Okay,
currently.
right. Okay. So, just to have an idea, what do you think? Is it ethical for AI to be using past data of people who have died and then mimic their voices? How do you see it as a computer scientist and as a future administrator?
So I think if the earlier singers whose
Hmm.
voices are being replicated, they are respected.
Hmm.
So it can be a good tool to promote their voices or to keep hold of that culture of ours. But
Hmm.
I think AI should be used for enhancement only,
Hmm.
and the human nature of music, which is already there, that should not lose its value due to AI. And I think it will not happen also because the uh, music, when someone sings it, they attach a feeling to it, and
Hmm.
that is something I think AI cannot replicate currently.
Okay, you're saying that. Okay. Now moving ahead, there's a very large fear of AI taking away jobs, right? So, as a computer science engineer, do you think it is not a big problem and it will be handled, or you think yes, this is a challenge for the next generation?
So I think currently it's a very huge challenge because there is a huge layoff in the markets. But
Hmm.
going forward, if we focus on more upskilling and reskilling of the people who are currently in the market, and also the people who are being trained in engineering and STEM branches, they need to be trained as per the future requirements.
Hmm.
And that can actually lead to, as the World Economic Forum also mentioned, creation of more jobs than the number of jobs it will take away. So the focus should be on reskilling.
Okay. Did you see the new, the Sora, right? Sora is the new one. The
Yes.
Chat GTP people, the OpenAI, they have now posted. So, they basically give a prompt and it's making a video on demand. Uh, do you think that will impact the movie industry, the music industry?
So in terms of creativity,
Hmm.
yes, it can be a good step. but it has certain issues also, like issues of deep fakes and differentiation between what is fake and what is real. That can be an issue in various areas of our governance as well as the society. So
Okay.
I think that is the reason, as far as I remember, it has not been launched currently because of the safety checks which are occurring, after which it will be launched properly.
Okay. There is a human-animal conflict going on in Kerala. Have you read about this?
So specifically, currently I haven't read, but yes, I
Okay.
know there are issues of human animal conflict.
Okay, there's the elephant attack. There were more than 3 attacks in the last, since the last 2 weeks. Let's assume you are the officer in charge. What would you do?
So can I take some time to think?
Yeah, sure.
So the first would be, I think, identification of the proper reasons. Like sometimes the places, the forests and the place people who are living and agriculture in that region, that is very close. So identification of such issues will be important. Secondly, I'll try to ensure that the forest development is such that there are proper movement spaces, like the corridors for the animals, so that they do not have to come into the areas where the people are living. Also, I think there needs to be emergency response teams who respond very quickly to whenever such issues occur. Because we cannot stop the animals from coming, but we can actually take action as immediately as possible. So these are some steps I can take. Thank you.
Mr. Shekhar Dutt from Sleepy Classes.
Yes. Hi, Aradhana.
Yes. Good morning, sir.
Hi, good morning. So I'll be asking you a few questions on sociology. Comfortable?
Yes, sir.
Okay. To begin with, is family a verb or is it a noun?
Sir, I think it's a noun.
Okay. Like, do we simply become a brother, or let's say I simply happen to be somebody's father, or do I have to act like somebody's father?
So by birth, we are connected directly. But yes, if someone like there is a place for godfathers also in our country. So
Okay.
that can also be one thing wherein if someone behaves like that, we treat them as our fathers. So
Okay.
that is also possible.
So that means it's a very action oriented term. Okay, so there was a question on it. This means as well. David Morgan's concept of family. You remember that?
Yes, sir. I actually
Okay.
read about it a little, but I
He,
don't.
he he changed the entire notion of understanding family. Okay, so and also like usually wonder that people are identified as Gujarati or let's say Punjabi, Marathi. What's that identity associated with someone from Madhya Pradesh?
Sir, in MP, there are various cultures, I would say. There are due to the Holkar's rule, which was already present here, there is a huge amount of Marathi population here. Then there is a huge number of tribal population. As I mentioned, 1/5 of the population is tribal. Apart from that, the Hindu culture is very prevalent here. And so these three things I can recall correctly.
So, but we still don't see a collective identity as someone, let's say, I'm a Madhya Pradesi. It is still not come up, no?
Maybe yes, sir. There are regions, and that is the division in MP right now, like the Bundelkhand region, the Baghelkhand region, and the Malwa region. So, like that, I think the identity exists currently.
Okay. And also, recently, we were seeing a lot of opposition to same-sex marriage. What are some secular oppositions to same-sex marriage?
So there are reservations with respect to the changes in the the Special Marriage Act, because currently all the laws are made in the heterosexual format. So that will have to be changed. And apart from that, even with respect to the to inheritance and adoption and such rights changes will have to be done.
Okay.
So that is these assumptions.
And okay.
Okay, so when is your interview, Aradhana?
Sir, it's on 27th.
27th
Yes.
of this month.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you just have a few days left.
Yes.
And how do you think you have performed today?
Sir, I think I started off very well, but when I think Sanjay sir was asking, I faltered a lot with respect to the opinion-based questions.
Okay. Now, last time you got 160. This time, in our opinion, you are a good candidate. You should do very well, and you should definitely get at least some service depending on your performance in the written. You have a pleasant personality. You can talk fluently. Your general awareness level is reasonably good. And you are answering questions also, arguing out logically. So overall, all these factors will go in your favor. However, where you were lacking in confidence was in sociology, which is your optional subject.
Yes, sir.
So that I think that because sociology, hobby, whatever figures in your DAF can lead to questions.
Yes.
And if you appear to be losing confidence as soon as the sociology questions were asked, that will be a negative point for you. So keep that in mind. Also, your own subject, because you are a computer science graduate. When Mr. Varun Grover asked you these questions, Varun Khullar asked you these questions on AI, you should appear to be a little more confident.
Okay.
And keep in mind, nobody knows everything. You may miss out one or two facts. You may not have read what has happened in Kerala. Doesn't matter. But whatever you answer, you should appear to be confident. Here, what happened was you immediately lost confidence.
Okay,
It was apparent from your appearance that you had lost confidence. That should not happen. Huh? And for the rest of that, whatever time is there at your disposal, please brush up your own subject as well as sociology.
Yes, I'll read about it.
Any of my colleagues wants to add anything?
I think that's good review, sir. We agree with you, sir.
Okay, Aradhana, do you have any questions from any one of us?
Sir, I just have one question if I can ask Sanjay sir.
Yes.
Please go ahead, Aradhana.
Sir, this one question that you asked me about MP being submissive one. So how should I handle that? I mean, I couldn't understand how to answer that one.
You didn't understand the question, or didn't know the answer to how to answer that?
Sir, I did not know how to answer that particular thing because that's an opinion that I should be forming on it. So how should I answer that?
Okay. See, each society, I'm not a sociologist. We have in this panel sociologists sitting, but my understanding is that each society is evolving, no? And when they are evolving, and each society is heterogeneous. There are various sociologists who would say that tribal society is homogeneous. I don't adhere to that view. Yeah, even small groups like self-help groups are very heterogeneous, yeah, because there is unequal power relationship between them. And as the society evolve, as the capabilities of people evolve and mature, what happens that access to resources, okay, becomes the key question. And there is always a competition in access to those resources, and that may give rise to conflict. Yeah? What happens that in good governing states, actually, the state, whether princely states in the past or the present democratic government in present, okay, they try to manage basically those conflicts, social conflicts. Yeah? For example, Tamil Nadu also, no, in the 1950s, 60s, there has been a lot of changes. You must have read about that. But somehow they have been able to manage those conflicts and keep it at the minimum level. Okay? Yes. So that you can always say that generally in the princely states of Madhya Pradesh, the princely states, have been generally welfareist. Yeah? They have been pro-people as compared to many other states.
Aradhana, what I would like to advise you, I mean, that's not specific to this question, but on any opinion-based question, at least say something. Express an opinion. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Express an opinion. That is important. You can have different views. Nobody wants you to have the same view as the panelist.
And
But-
that's never a negative thing. If you are
Yeah.
saying that which is contrary to the view of the panelist, no, this is never a negative thing.
Okay, sir. That was what I
But
wanted to ask.
as long as you can answer the question logically, and whatever your view is, you should be able to explain why you have come to that conclusion. That is important. Okay, all the best to you, Aradhana.
Thank you, sir.